We start things off with one DeVonta Smith, the Alabama wide receiver going into his senior year in the upcoming season. And Jim Nagy, who is the executive director for the Senior Bowl, who does an outstanding job. Nagy, who is also an NFL draft analyst for ESPN, also an NFL scout for 18 years. He posted a tweet a couple of weeks back, or a week or so back, and the tweet here is on screen. Nagy said DeVonta Smith was the most complete wide receiver Alabama had this past year. And he said this even with the Crimson Tide having a quartet of outstanding weapons led by Jerry Jeudy, the Fred Biletnikoff Award winner, the consensus All-American, the two-time 1,000-yard weapon, who, by the way, was selected number 15 overall in the first round of this year's draft to those Denver Broncos. Behind him, you've got Henry Ruggs III, a speed demon who can also catch the ball at its highest point. Very sound route runner, great hands, a guy that ran a 4.27 40 at the NFL Scouting Combine. He was selected number 12 overall in the draft by the Las Vegas Raiders. And then you have one Jalen Waddle, who is lightning in a bottle, the human joystick. As a freshman, 848 yards receiving. This past season, 560 yards on the receiving end, is dynamic on special teams as well. But Nagy looks at DeVonta Smith as the most complete guy. And for me, I kind of share in that same sentiment just due to Smitty coming into his senior year, former four-star out of MI, Louisiana at 6'1", 175 pounds. Smitty has shown myself in the media, as well as you, the Crimson Tide faithful, that he can do it all. He has been able to wear quite a few hats in his career. 2017, his freshman year, he showed, if you overlook me, I will catch game-winning touchdowns. He did it against Mississippi State, and Jalen Hurts, his best game throwing the football that year. I mean, of course, he came back with his more, heroic moment, the college football playoff national title game against Georgia, catching the 41-yard touchdown pass from Tua Tagovailoa on 2nd and 26. Place went crazy. Coach Saban called it one of the greatest moments of his life. Alabama getting the 26-23 victory there. So that season, Smitty showed, if you sleep on me, I'm going to catch game-winning touchdown passes. The very next year, he showed, if you sleep on me, I will prove to you that I can create massive production. As a sophomore, DeVonta Smith was one of 5 receivers to bring in at least 40 passes. He caught at least 40 balls as a sophomore from Tua Tagovailoa. And then this past season, he showed, if you overlook me, I can be the leading man. And Smitty, in 2019, though Jerry Jeudy was the high man for receptions, Smitty was the high man for receiving yards, 1,256, touchdowns with 14, yards per game with 96.6. He had 3 100-yard games, 2 200-yard performances against the Mississippi Rebels and the LSU Tigers. So wore quite a few hats he did in proving that he can be dangerous in game-winning touchdowns, dangerous in consistent production, and then dangerous in he can also be the leading man if you do not keep an eye on this individual. And while a lot of people look at, Smitty's got to get bigger, he doesn't have the size, he's only 6'1", 175 pounds. Sometimes you are what you are. You may not grow anymore, but when you look at what DeVonta Smith excels in, he may not have a size, he may not have the blazing 4.2, 4.3 speed, but here is somebody that tremendous route runner. He executes every single route on the tree, runs it to perfection, great in getting off of press coverage, great in working back to the quarterback, a guy that also strong hands. You rarely see Smitty drop passes. DeVonta Smith doesn't drop too many footballs. As good as Jerry Jeudy was in his career, and Jeudy was looked at as the most complete, compact receiver in this recent draft, there were moments where Jeudy would drop an easy pass here or there. DeVonta Smith, not the case with him. He's catching the ball whether it's simple, he's catching the ball whether it's complex, he's catching the ball whether the degree of difficulty is way out of the hemisphere. If that ball is anywhere near number 6, he's bringing it in, he's grabbing it in, and he's making a big-time play. So route running there, ability to work back to the quarterback there, strong hands there. He's got deceptive speed. So when you feel like he's not going to get behind you, 9 times out of 10, the young man will get behind you. Very deceptive with his speed. And the big thing is highly intelligent IQ, and an unselfish, willing blocker. Does not pout if the ball is not coming his way. That 175 pounds completely turns into, I'm cleaning somebody's head off, I'm knocking somebody's clock out, I'm blocking to help, whether it's a running back, whether it's one of my guys at wide receiver, whether it's the quarterback. I'm turning around and I'm making myself a blocker to help my guys get up and down the field. So DeVonta Smith, a total package guy. Now, in terms of just wide receivers coming back to college football in this upcoming season and competition that Smitty is going to have to face in trying to be, a first-round guy, a first-round receiver. In this past draft, 35 guys at that receiver position were selected, including 6 in the first round. 2 of those 6, Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. Smitty trying to do the same thing in the 2021 venue. But as you're checking out the slide here would be Smitty's competition. You got Jamar Chase of LSU, who had a monster year a season ago. Now that monster year came with Joe Burrow as the quarterback. How will he fare with Miles Brennan throwing him the football remains to be seen. Behind Jamar Chase, you have one Jalen Waddle of Alabama, Smitty's teammate. Waddle, to me, as I mentioned before, lightning in a bottle, Mr. Human Joystick, Mr. You can't tackle me. I'm faster than the speed of light. You can't touch me. Jalen Waddle trying to see if he can carve up a first-round stock as well. And then you have Justin Ross out of Clemson, who is a more taller, physical wide receiver. He did not have a 1,000-yard year this past season, but will look to get that thing right with Trevor Lawrence coming up here. Behind Ross, you have Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. You have Chris Olave from Ohio State. He's teaming back up with Justin Fields. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown out of USC, and he's going to be interesting because if the Trojans are able to play Alabama to start the year, things are looking pretty good right now for that matchup to happen. It's going to give us a good battle between Smitty and St. Brown. Both guys good route runners, both guys physical when they want to be, both guys attack the ball at its highest point, both guys really, really solid playmakers, and are going to be taking over for the number 1 guy that's moved on. Jerry Jeudy moving on, which opens up DeVonta Smith. Of course, Michael Pittman Jr. moving on from USC, which opens up Amon-Ra St. Brown. So there he is from USC. The next guy, Charleston Rambo, looking to be a big star. Moving on as he takes over for the departed CeeDee Lamb for the Sooners. So there's Charleston Rambo. So you got a lot, and also Tylan Wallace from Oklahoma State. So just a couple of guys, or a few guys that will be in this competition with DeVonta Smith and trying to show who will be the number 1 receiver potentially taken off the board here in the 2021 NFL Draft, and who can be the number 1 standout receiver in college football this upcoming season. So the reason why we're bringing up Smitty here is due to the fact that the NFL is going to a more smaller weapon type of league here. In years past, you had a lot of the big-bodied, physical 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" type guys that could not separate just on route running. They have to separate with their body. They got to elevate, box out the defensive back like you're playing basketball, catching the football that way. And though there's still a lot of those big-bodied receivers that can also run routes, so they're still dominating the league. You know, guys like Julio Jones for the Atlanta Falcons, DeAndre Hopkins of the Arizona Cardinals now, excuse me. Then you have Michael Thomas of the Saints, Mike Evans of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Keenan Allen is really good from the LA Chargers. Also AJ Green and Kenny Golladay of the Detroit Lions. So you have some physical big body weapons still dominating the league. It's now going more so to kind of these smaller body guys taking over. Calvin Ridley and Amari Cooper, both of those guys 6 feet 6'1". You look at a Tyreek Hill of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's 5'10", and he's burning the league up right now. Odell Beckham Jr. for the Cleveland Browns is 5'11". Tyler Lockett of the Seattle Seahawks is 5'10". Stephon Diggs is barely 6 feet for the Buffalo Bills now. So you see more of these smaller guys taking over the game right now, and this is why this is a huge feather in the hat of DeVonta Smith. I know Alabama gives him 6'1", but he probably may be 6 feet, maybe even 5'11", give or take there. But because of his ability to run precise routes, because of his ability to snatch and attack the ball at its highest point, because of his ability to work back to the quarterback, and also, you know, deceptive speed, intelligent, doesn't drop a lot of passes, and is also an effective, efficient, willing blocker, I can see why one Jim Nagy, executive director of the Senior Bowl, would say, you know, he was the most complete guy. Jerry Jeudy, outstanding. Henry Ruggs, outstanding. Jalen Waddle, outstanding. But in his mind, I can see why he would pull out DeVonta Smith, seeing how Smitty's clutch, seeing how Smitty has shown us in the last 3 seasons that he can be the clutch, game-winning, big play receiver. He can be the massive production guy. One of only 5 guys to catch 40 passes his sophomore year, 2018, and then last year where people didn't really expect him to be the leading man. They expected it to be, you know, Jerry Jeudy. Some expected it to be maybe Henry Ruggs. Other folks kind of had Jalen Waddle penciled down there. But 2019, Smitty said, hold on now, I can be the leading man too. He had over 1,200 receiving yards, 14 touchdowns, led the team with 96.6 yards per game there. But we take our first break here on In My Own Words, just getting it started here on a Memorial Day edition of the show. Upon our return, we unpack your phone calls, tweets, thoughts, text messages, questions, and concerns after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Make sure to subscribe before it's too late and get our new freshly printed end of the year magazine issue. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.